Good evening and welcome back to the last of the invasive species from Monster Hunter Story 3, which will be Invasive Khezu to unlock Barioth. Now, finding Khezu is actually not terribly difficult if you can remember how to backtrack your way to the watchtower from working your way into this general area. Or you can use the catavan stand to get to it. But once you get to the watchtower, you climb up to the top and then turn and float across towards the little jellyfish looking things that seem to be leading up various little steps over there. See, you need to go to the one that's high enough for you to actually connect to the ones going off in the distance, so don't jump to the low one over on the left. But from there you can actually hop over and land on this particular plateau, and then you should be able to jump the rest of the way up to the spot where Khezu is. Now, this one I actually found to be one of the more tricky invasive species. Not necessarily because the strategy is hard, but because it has basically zero room for error. I was in the mid 40s, about 45, 46, something like that whenever I did this one. That gave me enough health to be beaten on a little bit and still manage to survive the fight. But if you execute it correctly, you shouldn't get beaten on too much, or at the very least you shouldn't suffer through more than like 2 hearts being lost. But I brought Gaul in with me because Gaul seems to love to throw out vitality refreshes, so he's very good at putting your hearts back up. Now, you'll want to start the fight out with your Rathalos out, because at least for the attacks that can be deflected, the very first attack is a technical one, so you need to counter with power. And then until he starts the cycle over again, which is roughly every 4 moves, he uses nothing but power attacks with the ones that can be countered. So you'll swap Rathalos out with something that can counter power, so something with speed, like in my case I switched to Dread Queen Rathian. But he does a 4-turn sequence. The first attack is a technical one, and the way this fight works, you have to counter with a duo counter, so the double counter, double attack. But we'll come back to discussing the double attacks in just a minute. Second turn, he's going to do an attack that will actually inflict paralysis if it's not prevented. So if you grab Maggia Charm or another hunting horn that has Bolstering Ballad on it, you'll pop that this turn to protect everyone from being paralyzed. The next turn, he's going to go back to doing an attack that can be countered with a double attack. And that will be one that needs to be countered with a speed double attack. So you'll need to swap out to something that can do a speed attack, like Rathian. So you'll do the double attack against it, and then he'll do another turn where if you've executed everything perfectly up to that point, he will do another basic attack because you won't have charged up his super. You'll counter it again with another speed attack, and then you'll get a message about him having learned everything. So let me go ahead and cut to where I actually finally pull this sequence off, because I end up having to go through a couple loops here because I mess them up. But messing up a few loops is not that big a deal because you do need to build up your kinship gauge, and if you build it up on 2 monsters, even better. Alright, so you'll see on the first turn, we're going to counter his technical attack with a power attack, but it's going to be a double. This turn, we'll go back and actually buff everyone up to avoid the paralysis. This turn, I'll switch to Rathian so that I can use a speed attack to counter to do the double attack against this one.
Let's go. Leave it to me.
I'm pretty sure Gaul and them doing the kinship skill there really didn't mess up the sequence because it did the functionally same thing. In this turn, we'll do speed attack again to negate his attack, so it'll be a double attack again.
Don't overdo it. Thanks. Good one. Well done.
And that learning complete and then the message from Rudy lets you know you've executed everything correctly. And this is the point where you need to mount your monstie and use a kinship skill to force skip its next attack. It won't look like you've won immediately like it does in the other ones. It'll actually let you go ahead and start lining up another attack, and so I just assumed since it said it didn't go back to a normal state, I would just go ahead and select speed and see what happens. But as soon as you let the attack go through, it goes through the victory sequence, and you've won. So congratulations, you've managed to pull off this kind of convoluted series of steps to unlock, and you'll see in a minute, Barioth. And as always, remember, if I can beat it, so can you.